Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Wrestling World Podcast Network. This is a special live episode of Next Level reviewing Takeover San Antonio. It's enough of me talking. It's not my show. Andrew, what's going on?
Not too much, man. Thanks for the pre-intro. Yeah, this was one hell of a show, guys. And I guess we'll do a quick introduction. I'm your host, the Andrew Bello, host of the Next Level Wrestling Podcast here on the Wrestling World Podcast Network. So follow me on Twitter at WWPNBello. That's WWPN, B as in boy, ELLO, and check out all our stuff on our website, WWPN.com. So CJ. So many just bananas. Like, by the way, this is the hardest working man in the podcast business, CEOHaize, CJ. So many crazy things. I don't even want to run down this whole card. What do you want to talk about? Like, what was the biggest, craziest thing that happened for you tonight?
I mean, it was all crazy. Everything was almost great here. And I had been on record by saying that looking at this card, it was probably one of the most underwhelming NXT takeover cards probably ever. But they over-delivered to me. Like almost everything on this. It wasn't as good as Toronto because me and you talked about that. We both consider that damn near perfect. But they did a very good job of keeping the show suspenseful, building on top of things. That DIY match, the fact that they just played off the ending of the Toronto takeover match, that just did it for me. No matter what else happened in that match, I was almost sold. I couldn't believe it how strong they made the Authors of Pain look, but they deserved it. What was it for you? What was the one thing that stuck out to you on the show?
I had as this show was progressing, I was just like, oh man, this is like, I might want to just talk about this first. There was a couple matches that happened on, the earlier matches were what they were, I guess, as far as I'm concerned. Like they were pretty much what I expected them to be, which was sort of two good wrestling matches that involved, four respectively good workers. So but the back half of this card, man, like the four-way, I was like, damn, I can't wait to talk about this four-way. And then fucking, the main event was bananas, but I guess for me, Seth freaking Rollins, dude. Like, I marked out hard. You could go on my Twitter and find it. I got like a minute reaction video of me just losing my mind for like 56 seconds or whatever it is. So Seth Rollins does exactly what a Redditor had suggested several weeks ago, and that is show up at a takeover and try and get after Triple H that way. Dude, this was perfect. Like, this was like the kind of shit they need to be doing a lot more of. What did you think about this madness?
Yeah, I mean, this really, and I hate to just always like compare stuff to the Attitude Era, but this was that style, not quite to that level, but the fact that they told that story and it makes sense. Like, how often are we talking about WWE doing shit that just does not make sense overall? This made sense. If you're looking for Triple H, you know he's going to be a takeover. That's his baby. Why not show up there? I didn't like the fact that Triple H kind of just called out security and walked the hell off. That's not the Triple H. That's not the game. Come on now. But the fact that they just did that, the fact that they played into that, Seth Rollins does not have a match at Royal Rumble. So if this is all we get to Seth Rollins this weekend, give me more tenfold. Like it was completely unexpected.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely could leave this alone, and this could be Rollins and H for the weekend, and it would be cool as hell. Like, they'll do a whole package about it tomorrow, and I'm sure they'll be talking about it on commentary all throughout the night. But now this makes me just like more interested in this storyline than I've ever been, really. I mean, this is just like, wow, okay, that they're really pushing the boundaries with this kind of thing. It was just like, it's meta. Like, they're just looking at it from like, all right, there's reality here that Triple H is always at these takeover shows. So it's awesome when they don't ignore blatantly obvious shit like that. So I thought that was really cool. Man, like that. I don't know. This whole thing was just like, it took me by surprise. It took the commentators by surprise. It was just like at the UK tournament when Balor's music hit like behind Cole and Nigel, and they kind of were like, huh, what's going on? Like, that's awesome. Like, real moments like that, or, they probably didn't tell them that that's about to happen in hopes to get like a genuine reaction from Cole or whoever was doing commentary. But man, that was really cool. And that's something they don't do a lot of, is just like have other completely different storylines crossing brands like this. It's like I said, I hope they do more of it.
Yeah, for sure. It did so much for that storyline, and considering that Triple H has not been on TV for real since he interfered in that Universal title match, This is what we've all been waiting for, is some type of face off between these two guys, even though they didn't touch each other, to finally have them face to face, even though it was links apart. I mean, that's all that we really needed. That's the subtlety that we needed. Now you can build off that leading into Mania, even through Fastlane, whatever else they plan on doing. But now you have this as a platform. You have this as a jumping off point, and it's perfect.
Yeah. So, I mean, speaking of big surprises here, we might as well roll right into the main event because, I mean, it's going to be hard to not talk about it. So we might as well just get it out now. As I always do with all main events, like I try not to take notes on the main event. I just try to watch it and absorb it. And this match, man, this was a 5-star match in my opinion. Like I was fully enthralled from beginning to end. It had action, it had comedy, it had suspense, it had intrigue. Like this was a great match. I hate when the doctors get involved in the middle of matches and they don't like stop the match. It just seems stupid. Like if a doctor has to come out, this match is over. Like that should be it. But that's just my hang up that I have about these kinds of things. But this match was amazing. Well, what did you think about all of this?
The match was great. Like it over delivered in my opinion. I did not expect Bobby Roode to go over, but he did. But I think that the match was built perfectly, and the fact that they told that story of Nakamura's knee just kind of giving out over him, Bobby Roode attacking the knee, and the fact that even though Nakamura lost, he still looked strong. It took everything plus the kitchen sink and the toilet to get Nakamura to stay down, and you know that's what you want to do. You want to keep your guy looking strong. Looking at this saying, hey, Nakamura is probably coming to the Royal Rumble. I don't believe that. If they were going to do that, you wouldn't have him going out looking injured, at least in my opinion. I think the WWE is going to play off our expectations to mean that this is going to be him going to be at the Rumble, and he's not coming. I much good if he was to come. Like it just would almost be too much good.
Yeah, I agree. That might just be like that's really wishful thinking. To be perfectly honest, like the whole main event, just the match itself and the title changing hands unexpectedly, like they trolled the shit out of us. Wasn't he like defending the title against Cassius Ohno, like on a tape on what we thought was a taping? Or are they going to do like a house show switch here? Like, man, like there's just so many options. I wasn't even thinking about the Rumble. So wow, yeah, that I guess that's on the table now. I mean, it's more so than it was, and maybe they're trolling us again, but damn, like all of this is awesome.
The Cassius Ohno thing, there was rumors going around saying that could have just been an Easter egg. It could not actually air on TV, and that's probably what they were doing. The WWE is smarter than what we let them on to be sometimes. Like we don't give them credit for how much aware that they know their fans are and how much we're watching for each and every little thing. So the fact that they filmed that and leaked that out was probably just a misdirection. I have to believe that now. I don't think that he's going in anything with Cassius Ohno, or he may, but it's not going to be for the NXT title. I don't think he's going to win it back. At least I hope not. It kind of cheapens it when you have it kind of bounce back and forth. I want to see Bobby Roode have this title now. He's earned it, even though he did it in a douchey way. I mean, really, when you look at it, he still won clean. He didn't do anything to cheat to win this. He won clean. Yeah. He pulled out everything to keep Nakamura down. So let's pay that forward. Let's keep him with that title. And or if they have him go against Cassius Ohno, if they have him go against whoever else, or if they have him come to the main roster, that's all fine. But the thing is now is they have to have at least one more match or two or three with the way that NXT typically books champions. They kind of stay around for a while. But I don't know. Like, what do you think's happening next? Where is Nakamura going next?
Yeah, I mean, they do have to have a rematch at this point. And here's what I hope they don't do. I hope, like you said, they don't just like pass the belt back and forth for a couple, times like they did with the Joe angle, especially because they just did it with the Joe angle. But I don't like that in general. I hope that they set up like a big ass main event for WrestleMania and they can somehow hold this off like Sabu and Taz style, where they just keep them apart somehow. Like they're not even allowed in the building on, every other week or whatever it is. Like just they find a way to carry this all the way to WrestleMania, because based on what I watched tonight, I cannot wait for that rematch. Like it's going to be amazing because oh my God, this match was so good. This was like, they went out there like every bit of intention of going, you know what? fuck Okada and Omega. We could put on great fucking wrestling too here in America. And Nakamura, Nakamura's watching all that stuff over there too. And that was definitely, that's a little gamesmanship, man. That's what's cool about wrestling. That's the competitive aspect of wrestling that regular people outside of the sport don't realize. Like, oh, it's not competitive. That's the aspect of it that makes it a competitive athletic event. I won't go as far as say sport, but it's just that there is competition. It's just not the one you're seeing on TV every week that's portrayed as a match. So I mean, that's just something that that's one of those things that I always get hung up on when people give you like, it's fake, right? Like, I'm like, yeah, but all right, never mind. So that's a whole nother podcast. But all right, so we got those out of the way. Basically, the Fatal 4-Way, like I said, I really wanted to talk about here because, first of all, this match was another like really, really good match. I thought it would have been better served to like open the show because now in such close proximity to the Rollins thing and the main event, it's going to get lost in the shuffle. Whereas like if it had opened the show and then we got EY and Ty Dillinger, and then we got Almas and Roddy, I think that would have been like the best possible scenario because this show would have had this crowd even more hyped if that match opened up. We get just awesome. There's this whole storytelling in this match. It's one of these situations where, and there's another match like this on the card, that they tell a story so well. I'm just not a particularly huge fan of the story, but they're telling it exceptionally well. Like this match, Asuka goes over. But during the course of this match, like there's just so much interplay with the Aussies trying to team up, and basically, like I'm surprised they didn't try to pin one another. They were at points like pinning people simultaneously. Like Peyton Royce would have been the champion, but Billie Kay was like sitting on top of her for some reason, and like there was that whole thing going on. They're kind of picking their spots and letting Asuka and Nikki Cross fight each other out, fight with each other, and kind of they were just sitting on the outside. We get a bunch of great spots here. A straitjacket neck breaker from Nikki Cross, which was perfectly called by Corey Graves, saying, she's crazy. Why wouldn't she have a straitjacket neck breaker in her arsenal? And then the spot with the whole, the Aussies end up putting Nikki Cross through the table to put her out of commission because she was on just a rampage. She had put down Asuka and was coming for them, and they somehow used their guile to get her out of contention by putting her through that table, which was oddly placed. Did you notice this table? Which was just like, it was just a table next to the commentary table. No one sitting at it, no nothing. It was just there. Like it was.
Well, if this was SmackDown, they would. If it was SmackDown, they would have had to use that table because they have 150 commentators out there every night. But
that is true. Maybe they thought, maybe there's just like an open door policy on commentary these days. So just like, what, whoever shows up, we got a chair. But
would have been better than Percy Watkins, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, he's so bad.
The dude is terrible. He had one good line, one great line, I will say, throughout the whole night. But okay. And so before we get too far, I wanted to ask you. So Peyton Royce and the Aussie Mean Girls, they win the women's super rookie of the year or whatever
Breakout
it was,
stars or whatever it was. Yeah,
that had to be fixed, right? There's no way in hell.
No,
There's no way in hell.
That was the power of persuasion, my friend. They were social media campaigning real hard. They even had like Nakamura endorse them, like that, all that stuff. Plus, it's two hot Australian chicks telling you to do something. The general wrestling community.
Please don't tell me you voted for them. Did you vote for them, Andrew?
Oh, I didn't vote, man. I don't vote. Like, I'm not doing online votes for this kind of stuff. Like, if it was like, should Ty Dillinger get to the main roster? Like, yeah, sure, I'll put my thumbs up or whatever the hell I got to do. But like, I'm not giving them their awards. Like, you guys make those decisions. don't get paid to let us do your work. Like, fuck that. Anyway, but we do get some other stuff going on. Oh, all right. With the 4-way too. I wanted to, I'm sorry, just touch on this. Is just, I felt like at any point in this match, like Asuka should have lost. Like I love Asuka and I love like the badass that she is, but and don't get me wrong, 3 out of the 4 women walked away looking spectacular in this match. I don't think Billie Kay looked great, but she wasn't bad by any means. I felt like the other 3 really came off looking really good. And I felt like if you gave the belt to the Aussies and just let them kind of quarrel for it, that would have been a better storyline. Like, and let Asuka and Nikki Cross kind of do their thing aside from it. Like, that belt could be doing better service to the brand or the division on someone else at this point, because everyone knows Asuka's a killing machine. We don't need her to carry the belt Like, I don't know. I felt like it could have been, and she wouldn't have even had to get pinned in this match in order for that to happen, which I thought was another good out for them. But what did you think about Asuka keeping the title? Is it just me? Maybe I'm overthinking it, as I tend to do.
Well, I mean, I expected Asuka to keep the title here only because I think that her going away, that last feud is going to be her and Ember Moon. I think that's what they're going to use Asuka sent away for, is to build up Ember Moon as the next big star in that women's division. So I didn't expect to lose the title. I know all over the place, when you put someone in the 4-way, it's like you can have them lose the title and not eat the pin. I just didn't expect it at all. I expected her to walk out here, but they made me second guess my prediction quite a few times in this match. She should have lost this match. Once Nikki Cross was taken out and it was just the Aussie Mean Girls in the ring with Asuka, I'm like, here it goes. There was one point in the match where the Aussie Mean Girls shook hands or bumped fists, whatever it was. I'm like, she's going to try to pin her. She's going to try to pin her. It didn't happen. And Asuka just continues to look strong. At this point now, when someone finally does pin Asuka, it's going to be the biggest win. It's going to be even bigger than Goldberg beating Brock Lesnar, because this woman has literally defied all odds in NXT since she's been there. Like, they've put like Nia Jax, this 4-way, Bailey, everything. Who hasn't she faced? And she always comes out on top no matter what's going on, how the cards are stacked against her. If she's hurt, crazy, like I don't know. Asuka's amazing. She's probably the biggest star they have right now.
Yeah, and, when Ember Moon goes over her at WrestleMania weekend, it's going to be a big deal. Like, and it's cool that they've been building it, but like in the most subtle of ways. Like, only people like us who are like really analyzing the cards, like in the future, are going to be like thinking about that. But if you weren't paying attention to something like that, like Ember Moon's been over here doing awesome shit, and Asuka's doing over here doing awesome shit, and they haven't crossed paths yet. And it's when it happens, it's going to be really cool. So hopefully that is the feud going into WrestleMania, and hopefully, Ember Moon goes over. They quickly get a rematch out of the way, and Asuka's up on the main roster kicking people's heads in. That's what I'm hoping.
Especially with Ember Moon's little interview there, promo, whatever you want to call it, she cut on the pre-show talking about the 4-way match tonight, and saying when they asked her who she wants to win versus who she thinks is going to win, and she just talked Asuka up, really, really leaning into that and saying that she wants to face that test. You have to think that was for a reason. NXT is perfect at planting seeds like that. And even though we, being the smarks that we are, and we have to analyze stuff the way we do, going that direction, and that's going to be the money feud. Now, what do you think they do with Nikki Cross after this? Because they've built her up to be almost on that Asuka's level. She's crazy as hell, but they've built her very strong leading into this 4-way. Do you think she just goes after the Aussie Mean Girls on her own because they put her through that table? What do you think is going to happen?
I like that angle, actually. I didn't really know. I mean, what should happen as far as sanity is concerned, and obviously, and they're not going to do this, is Eric Young should beat her up and kick her out. I mean, really, like, this is sanity, right? Like, this is their angle, is like, you failed. Like, fuck you, goodbye. We'll replace you. We'll be handing out your jacket to somebody next week, and they'll try to recruit, Daria Baronato or whatever the fuck. Like, I would like that angle. Like, just let sanity continuously trying to change directions because people are failing under Eric Young's watch, and that's not something that's acceptable to him. But that would be cool. But yeah, I do like the angle of her going after the Mean Girls. I think that that'll work. It's very similar to the Asuka thing, except I think they built Nikki Cross really well. I haven't seen a lot of in ring that I was really blown away by necessarily, but just her interactions with Asuka tonight in particular, the fact that Asuka treats her like a threat. She treats her like almost like an equal. That builds so much. And when she has that ultimate face-to-face with Ember Moon, and we get something similar to that, like, that's going to be like, all of this work that they've done to build Ember Moon was almost basically unnecessary, because that moment is going to do all of the work for them. So, it's going to be really cool. And that's the kind of aura Asuka puts off. And that's why she's amazing. And my one last comment for this match is, for JB, I'm going to steal your fuck-o-meter on the fuck-o-meter. Out of 5, I give this 4 fucks, both literally and potentially figuratively. Yeah, you're welcome, JB. And then we go, I have other kind of random news here. Before we get into the match, we find out Nigel McGuinness is going to be replacing Corey Graves on commentary for NXT starting Wednesday, which is that's kind of crazy. And I did appreciate that Graves got all the digs in on Percy Watson that he could tonight. knowing that it was his last shot. This is big news. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, it makes me sad because now we're probably, at least in my estimation, probably not going to get a UK weekly show. But taking that out of it, Nigel McGuinness is a fucking great commentator. For anyone who's only seen him on the UK tournament, he's been in ROH doing commentary. The guy, he knows this stuff. I think it's a step up. As much as I love Corey, I love Corey Graves, but I think Nigel McGuinness is a step up, especially on the NXT brand. And you're gonna see. The only thing is, why the hell is Percy still on this commentary team?
Yeah,
it's like it's gonna take away from the amazingness that's Nigel McGuinness to have someone with that level of suctitude out there with somebody so great. But him and Tom Phillips, I think, are going to be good together. So do you think Nigel McGuinness is going to be a heel commentator? Because right now, looking at it, they don't have a heel.
That's what I was just saying. Like, as much as I've had my quarrels with Graves, homie's got to stop shitting on New Jersey. But, like, other than that, like, he's a spectacular commentator. So it's going to be horrible not having him ripping on Phillips and Watson, every week. But yeah, if Nigel starts doing that, like if we get like a heel Nigel McGuinness, for those of you who didn't watch Nigel McGuinness wrestle, he's like one of the best heels you're ever going to see. Like he was amazing in Ring of Honor when he was a heel. And I think the British accent just adds legitimacy to everything. Dickie comments included, just kind of being like, being a douche. And on top of like, it just sounds more professional having a British dude commentate. It does. I don't know if it's just me, but.
No, I agree. Like you just... I love British humor. I don't know if you know or not, but I grew up living in Europe, so I'm used to that British humor. Like I grew up living in Italy and Germany, but we got European TV, British TV because it was in English. So I'm used to that type of humor, and I just love the delivery and the way he does stuff. And I think anyone who's not familiar with him, if you didn't watch the UK tournament, if you don't watch ROH, you're going to be in for a treat. It may take you a little while to adapt to him, but give him a chance. I think everyone's going to like him because he is a great heel and he knows his shit. What more can you want?
Absolutely. So we do have some other matches on the card. I think that was more or less it. Oh, you know what? As far as random news, just to get this out of the way, Samoa Joe sitting ringside in a suit, so he's fucking gone, right? Like we can confirm that. There's no way. Like they've literally never had an active NXT roster guy sit there and get his get his little moment in the way that they did that with him. But then again, we've had some things I guess that happened tonight that had never happened before. So maybe they're just screwing with us again. I don't know, but. So yeah, other matches here. Let's talk about this tag match, man. This was a really good match. It really got interesting towards the tail end here, where we just got like all the callbacks to the Revival match from Toronto. Authors of Pain just powering out of shit, and that whole spot at the end of this match, like. Where they're both in the finish, just like Toronto, and then one of the Authors of Pain, I still don't know which one is which, picks up Gargano and slams him onto Ciampa. Like that spot was amazing, and just like the whole Super Collider finish thing that they have going, it's amazing. This was really good storytelling. I think we're going to keep, unfortunately, DIY down here chasing for a little while. What did you think of the match, and are you thinking the same way as I am?
Yeah, I absolutely think the same thing you do. DIY, man, these guys are freaking amazing. And don't get me wrong, Authors of Pain aren't terrible. You see some people shitting on them. They're not terrible. But DIY made these bastards look like $1 million. Like this, they made this crap believable. Tommaso Ciampa, in the run that he went on, he was just suplexing these huge. Keep in mind, this guy's a cruiserweight technically. He's in there with these guys who are probably over 250, just throwing them around the ring for a while there. It was great. It was great.
Yeah, these guys are, but they're both got to be 300 easy, right? Like these are some big boys. And yeah, Ciampa. I mean, Ciampa did exactly what Ciampa needed to do in this match, because if you remember, they did have the previous match basically where the Authors of Pain just stomped Gargano in the corner like relentlessly for a long period of time, and they kept Ciampa out of the match because Ciampa's like the bruiser. Like they should have no problem beating up on Gargano, either one of these guys. So they keeping Ciampa out of the match is their strategy, and it should be. And Ellering having, being the mastermind that he is that makes all the sense in the world that they would do that. So when Ciampa gets in, like Ciampa's got to wreck house, because there's, he might not get back into this match if he has to tag out the Gargano, and like just the whole urgency of it and him just going on like a rampage, like you said, it was awesome. Really good storytelling here. It's going to be interesting to see what it takes, for DIY to get these titles back, or if they even, like I was saying on Next Level, there's just so many options with these two. You can have them feud, you can have them go up and be in the cruiserweight division. They can go to the main roster and be a tag team. Like, there's just so many options for these two guys. What would you want ideally for Gargano and Ciampa moving forward?
Ideally, they probably need to spend a little bit more time in NXT. Just, I always like people to get as much seasoning as they can in NXT. That way they can prove themselves and hopefully they have a better chance once they go to the main roster. What I will say is that if they do go to the main roster anytime soon, I want to see them on SmackDown. I think SmackDown will be able to utilize them better. I don't trust Raw to do really anything with talent because we see how they book people. These guys came in with
particular, I was
exactly.
Gonna say.
So, tag teams in WWE struggle kind of to get over anyway because WWE doesn't really seem like they commit to their tag team. But I would like to see them go on SmackDown. I think there's more story to be told with them there. I think that they will contribute to that whole underdog feel that SmackDown has sometimes. If thinking of a feud, them and American Alpha would be good. I don't know, that's a face dynamic, but the guys have proven they can work with really anybody. The Usos, I think that they can put on some great shit with the Usos. The Usos have been good as heels. Don't know why they've been off TV as long as they have, but there's a lot of options on either Raw or SmackDown for DIY. I would rather see them on SmackDown, but considering they're also cruiserweights, they'll probably end up on Raw so they can also use them in the cruiserweight division if I had to guess. But SmackDown would be my choice. What about you?
Yeah, I guess they could technically keep them on SmackDown and they'd be there for 205 Live and 205 Live. I almost said 205 Live and 5. Check out our YouTube channel. Hey, since you're here, you're watching this, go down 205 Live and 5. Episode 9 went up on Thursday. Anyway, but yeah, I guess they could keep them on SmackDown and technically they'd just be there for 205 Live too. So they could go either way with that, I suppose. But man, they just have so many options. I'd like to see them kind of make a run at Authors of Pain here for maybe another pay-per-view and then get them up there as soon as they can. Like even have them maybe feud like on the main roster, like they come up, their debut doesn't go so good and they immediately split into some sort of feud in the cruiserweight division. I wouldn't be opposed to that. Like, I don't know, man. I feel like anything that they do, it's going to be fine because they're incredibly talented. I do like the idea of them on SmackDown. Like I feel like Daniel Bryan in particular, but Shane would also, they would just all get along really well, both in kayfabe and outside of it almost. But that's more or less it for this match. I mean, we get the title switch. That's kind of cool. I guess it was relatively expected. What did you have for this match? Did you have Authors of Pain going over here?
Yeah, I think I did have Authors of Pain going over. It just made sense. They're not going to have the Authors of Pain lose right now. It doesn't make sense to kind of pull the rug from under them quite this early. I just want to see more from them. You have these guys attached to Paul Ellering, and they've had some impressive wins, but it hasn't really been much. They just brood around. I love their moveset. I will say that. I love their double team moves. That whole power bomb they do where they kind of clink the glass together, the guys, and then power bomb them down. That's beautiful. The whole Russian leg sweep clothesline finish, I'm not as big of a fan. I kind of like that power bomb spot a little bit better for that. But that's what NXT is for. And let's not forget that. A lot of people, because NXT does deliver such good quality, usually we forget that they're here to develop. That is the point of NXT. Yeah. So now that they have the titles, they're the champions, they have to get development. They have to get screen time. They have to continue to develop and get those characters together and also tighten up that ring work because the main roster could use them. Like a Monster Hill team on the main roster, either show can use them and just keep getting them ready. They have Paul Ellering, so I trust that they're going to put something behind them. Triple H, he runs NXT, so I have faith there. You have my faith, but if we go to another takeover and it's kind of just been more of the same, I'll start losing my support in Authors of Pain, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm always weary of guys that I'm over, like their move set is over, and that's the first thing that I jump to because then I think like, what separates these guys from any other wrestler? Like I could, if you and I could go out there and perform that move set, it would look awesome. It's not necessarily a difficult move set. Like they're not out there busting 450 splashes out. So I don't know, but yeah, I do that. Like you said, DIY put them over like $1 million, and I'm happy. you mentioned Triple H and sort of the backstage, because there was, I guess, a report coming out that we found out that Sanity is Triple H's baby. Basically, he saw Eric Young's work in TNA, thought that the world-class maniac was a guy that he wanted on board. Despite the excellent years of Showtime Eric Young, most entertaining wrestler in sports entertainer Eric Young, afraid of his pyro Eric Young, world-class maniac Eric Young is the one that he said, nope, that's my guy.
Knockouts tag team champion.
Knockouts tag team. Yep. He had a fishing show or some shit like but this most recent psychotic gimmick worked for Triple H. Yeah, Eric Young's like a guy that I've always thought very highly of. I hope we get to see him pull a pile driver out one day, like just maybe one. They're never gonna let him. But I'm a fan of pile drivers. I don't care. These guys know what they're in for. But like, come on, man. They would want to do them. I feel like
a few broken necks. Now we don't get pile drivers anymore. Besides the Undertaker, like, come on now. What's a few broken neck? No, let's stop playing.
I mean, the Owen Hart is, God bless Owen Hart and God rest his soul. But that pile driver on Stone Cold at SummerSlam was the most poorly executed pile driver of all time. Like Triple H's, Stone Cold's head was literally like all the way through his legs. There was no cushion whatsoever. But yeah, like come on, man, just good execution on pile drivers. But we're getting off track as we tend to do. Team Reach Around. We tend to do just that. We reach all around. So another, like I was saying about Sanity here, we got the Perfect 10, Ty Dillinger, my boy, taking on Eric Young. Sanity in tow, minus Nikki Cross, because she was getting ready for her match. Man, this match was, I'm just going to let you go, because I don't even know how I feel about it still.
You don't know how you feel about this match? I absolutely love this match for what it was, an opener, so it's not going to be just the most amazing thing on the show. I still think it served its purpose. It kind of set the tone for the night. To piggyback off what you said earlier, Sanity absolutely just feels like Eric Young. Like, for anyone who's seen him or heard him talk outside of his character, outside of wrestling, the guy is actually a very intelligent person, but he's crazy. And so, like, he plays his character so well. I love the fact the commentary picked up on the fact that Eric Young is actually the one who trained Ty Dillinger. I didn't even know that.
I don't know that.
That was a good.
I don't know that that's true.
I don't know true. Yeah, they're about the same age, but you never know. Yeah. But I still like all that, and the match, like I said, it served its purpose here. It was a little awkward in certain spots. I think because of how little Eric Young is and how tall Ty Dillinger is, some of the moves didn't quite look as crisp as they could have. But it served it told the story. Ty Dillinger looked very stronger. I mean, at one point in time, he kicked every member of Sanity who was out there's ass and still looked like he was about to win the match. He would have won the match if they didn't put his damn foot on the rope. So Ty Dillinger didn't lose anything here. We know he was it's Ty Dillinger. He loses on takeovers. Yeah. That's what the hell happens. What I'm more excited about, and we've talked about this, is that everyone in NXT goes out looking at the lights. Ty Dillinger is going to be at this Royal Rumble, people. I'm speaking into existence. He's coming out at number 11. He's not coming up at number 10 because The Miz is going to be number 10. But Ty Dillinger is going to be in this Royal Rumble. I'll see you on SmackDown, young fella, because it's about damn time that SmackDown gets the perfect 10.
Oh, man, I certainly do hope that SmackDown gets the perfect 10 treatment. But, yeah, like I said, I just don't know how I feel about this match because, like, I was discouraged on several levels. Ty Dillinger loses matches, and he looked really good in this match. But, like, did Sanity look any better for it? Like, of course 3 guys should be beating up on one guy. And this one guy damn near beat all 3 guys anyway. Like, I felt like Ty Dillinger looked stronger than he needed to in this case, because if he is going up, why keep him looking strong? Like it was discouraging from the fact, like, I could see them realizing now that Dillinger's over finally, because that's how long it takes them to figure things out. And now they want to reset to where he's the guy that loses at takeovers but gets fucked over every time. And then after a fucking couple months of doing that, Now all of a sudden it's like, hey, Ty Dillinger's in a situation where he can't get fucked over, or he finally wins the big one, and just he's ready for that turn or that swerve or whatever it is. And it's like, damn, are we gonna have like, I don't know. I just felt like this felt like there was a storyline progression here for Ty Dillinger that wouldn't be necessary if he is going up to the main roster. Did you get any of that?
Well, the thing is they keep saying what's next for Ty Dillinger. They keep talking about him losing. Is he going to win the big one? So there's some storyline progression there. I really don't see it continuing with Sanity. There's no reason for it unless they end up having him join Sanity, which I think would just be a waste of talent there. So no, I think that they set this up, at least in my opinion, well for the Royal Rumble. When he comes out tomorrow night, to me, they told that well. Maybe it's just because I've been expecting it for like the last 2 months now. But Ty Dillinger more than deserves it. He's been in WWE off and on for like 13 years. He's trusted to help train people when they're coming back for injury. He's done so much for this company. He deserves, even if it's, hey, a trial run, like we're going to put you on TV for a little while to see if you're as over as we think you're over. He deserves that, though, because I think Ty Dillinger can be one hell of either a mid-card face or heel. He has the ability to play both sides of that. And a roster that's really lacking people who can operate in that area, and they keep trying to force people into the main event, Ty Dillinger would be perfect on either brand. I hope that he's on SmackDown just because that's my favorite show. I know you're the Raw apologist, but
I am.
I don't know. I don't know. What do you right now? Are you calling, is Ty Dillinger on the main roster after Sunday?
Yeah. I think as much as I would love the whole him coming in at 11 in a minute, I think they're going to just go with the easy route here. Just throw him in at number 10, dead, flat, even, make that, that'll be great. Because like, basically, yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I just think that's too cute for them to try. Like, they're just going to put him out at 10. Like, the buzzer's going to hit. We're going to hear 10, and people are going to go ape shit. And that's all you need to know. So, like, that's...
I'm saying right now, if he comes in at number 10, be prepared. The crowd is going to chant 10 for at least a minute and a half straight. Like, we're not going to be able to hear anything but 10 chants for a minute and a half straight. And every time he's close to being eliminated, those 10 chants are going to come back. It's the perfect situation for him to succeed, because when he comes out there, regardless of what number it is, when Ty Dillinger comes out there and they hear how legitimate that 10 chant is in an arena with, what is it, over 30,000 people we're going to have tomorrow night, deny him at that point if you had any doubts about him. That's all I
think it's 60. It's that's a big ass. Yeah, it's a big ass stadium that they're doing this thing at. But I do see him going to SmackDown. I think he's gonna play, as much as he hasn't been booked particularly well on Raw, I think he's going to play sort of a Sami Zayn type role. Like he's going to be less socially awkward Sami Zayn, except like, people probably won't like him because the whole perfect 10 thing will rub people the wrong way. And that'll be kind of his gimmick, but he'll still be a face because they're not going to be able to make him a heel. People are going to be chanting 10 for at least the first 5 months that he's up on the roster, just because we're obnoxious. Fans are obnoxious, and I will include myself in that. We're fickle beasts. So yeah, that's more or less it, man. Let's hope. I got double fingers crossed. I'm going to be wearing my Ty Dillinger t-shirt tomorrow. I'm ready. Yeah, go ahead.
One more thing. If Ty Dillinger eliminates Braun Strowman, be prepared, because that man, you've just made a star. That's all that's needed. So I'm sorry, I just had to end on that. Ty Dillinger must eliminate Braun Strowman. That's he cannot do anything else in the match. If he eliminates either Braun or Roman, who's not going to be in the Rumble, so that's definitely not an option. He's going to be the biggest star of the night.
Oh my God, if they put Roman or Cena in and Dillinger eliminates them, like, oh yeah, that would be great. If he wasn't coming in at 10, I'd say like the last guy eliminated spot would be perfect for him. Like he does like the Rusev or the whatever, like he's knocked out early, he rolls under the bottom rope, and then all of a sudden some guy thinks he won and Ty Dillinger comes creeping up like Santino, like that kind of thing. Like that would be a funny spot for Ty Dillinger. I think people would really like that. But then whoever wins, people are going to be pissed about it. So I don't know. We did have one last match here tonight. And, like I said earlier, like these two matches, the Ty Dillinger match and the Eric Young match were more or less what I expected them to be. But we ended up with Cien Almas and Roddy Strong This was a Roddy showcase. As much as they've been pushing the CN heel character, and maybe it was for this reason specifically, Roderick Strong, it looked exceptional. The entrance feels big. His move set's awesome. The backbreakers from out of nowhere thing is pretty sweet. His ability to fight back after Almas kept trying to work the arm to set up the arm trap DDT. He ultimately ends up reversing it at the end. He hits him with a high knee and a big flapjack and a sick kick. And Roderick Strong versus the world, ladies and gentlemen. He has arrived on NXT. How did you like this match? And did Roddy come off as good as I think he did?
Absolutely. This match was honestly, and people may think I'm crazy for this. This is my second favorite match of the night. This is my second favorite match of the night. Right below the main event and a little bit above the four-way women's match. I absolutely love this match. This was CN's best match since being on the main roster. I don't know who can argue that, but Roddy looked freaking amazing here. They served him very well, very, very well for him this to be his first takeover. And people, it seems like, and correct me if I'm wrong here, tell me how you feel, but it honestly feels like a lot of people don't really know Roddy Strong. And that's weird for me as much wrestling as I watch, because Roddy's just been an Iron Man in so many different promotions, not just ROH. He's the Bola MVP, like in my book, for several years. So that's a little weird to me, but he earned it. I mean, this match was perfect, a perfect jumping off spot. Now they have to do something big with him next. I don't know if it's going to be Eric Young. I don't know what they can do to line him up as far as to kind of keep that momentum, but they have to build off this because it was awesome in my opinion. I loved this match. The way it was built, the finish, I loved the fact that CN, who is the heel and overall hasn't been booked very well since being in NXT, at least in my opinion. I always like to throw that preface out there, but this was a good match and it served both men well.
Yeah, I've actually really liked Almas, his character since he turned heel. I think it's been a good look for him. He, cutting the promos in Spanish and just being an overall like douchebag and just angry about everything because it's probably feeds off a little bit of how he actually feels. Like he's probably pissed off that he came in and they slapped suspenders on him and they said go out there and dance around and put a feather in your hat and all that goofy shit. So I do love his gear now though. He went like full heel. He's got a fedora. Check. He's got leather looking pants. Check. He's got a jacket with no shirt. Check. He looks like a total douchebag. Like that's a great look for a heel. I thought that was really good. And then this whole Roddy, hashtag Roddy versus the world. This is, like I said online, this is the dopest hashtag of 2017 right now. I just think this is really cool. If this is going to be the angle that he works, is that he's just out there. Maybe he's not even a face. Like, maybe he goes after other faces. Like he just doesn't care. He's not a bad guy. He's not a good guy. He's going to be the guy in NXT. And that would be, except he could actually pull that off and not sound stupid when he said it. But big things for Roddy Strong.
Oh yeah. Very big things for Roddy Strong. I think that, Austin Aries being out, who else went out with injury? Tommy being out for injury. It kind of opens a spot for that senior guy, that veteran who's been around for a while and who's now can come right into NXT and really serve any role. He can be heel, face. He can work with literally anybody. And the thing is, we still haven't seen the best of Roddy yet. We still haven't seen a lot of the move set and the backbreakers and all the crazy crap he can do. So for anyone who's looking for that type of thing, there's still a lot more to be uncovered here with Roddy Strong. And it amazes me that it seems like the crowd doesn't know who this guy is. He deserves so much more, but it also gives him the chance to wow these people, and I think he can live up to it.
There's maybe there's a certain contingent of the wrestling fan base that's out there that's sort of like in the same boat as I am with Roddy. Like I keep up with Ring of Honor and I watch a lot of PWG, and I caught like maybe most of the his heel run in PWG is basically what I saw of him there. And I liked him. I never quite understood the people that loved him. Like there wasn't he's had some really good matches with, other good wrestlers, which is a hard metric to measure because most people can, so it's one of these things where like, I just never understood the appeal. I I've since grown like to appreciate his work, and he's on a couple podcasts or every so often that I listen to. So he seems like a good guy, and he's just in it for all the right reasons. And he's a hell of a wrestler, and he likes appreciates the art form. I like guys that are like that, like, not for nothing, fuck Baron Corbin, like in real life, like, because he doesn't really want to be there. He wants to be playing football, but his knees are fucked up or whatever it is. Like, like that. I like the guys that are there, like, the Baileys and the Roddy Strongs and the Sami Zayns of the world that like appreciate this. Like, this is art for them. That's cool. Like, those are the people that I appreciate, like on a personal level, aside from their character. But
yeah, absolutely. Roddy Strong. He's like I said, I watch so much wrestling, and he's literally been almost every promotion that I watch. So I'm a big fan of Roddy. I know you said you don't understand people that just absolutely love him, but he kind of just has that blue collar. And I like characters like that. I like people who literally wrestle and feel like they wrestle because they like wrestling, not they love wrestling, not just the character, but because they legitimately love the sport and they love being able to do what they do. And Roddy does very well exude that all the time, in my opinion. So you hit the nail on the head there.
All right. Well, that was, NXT Takeover San Antonio. Anything else you want to mention here? Because I do have a couple points I wanted to ask you about the Rumble.
Yeah. Before we get to that, I did want to ask you something here, and that is that NXT, it was recently said that they are in a whole rebuilding thing. Does it feel that way to you? Because it doesn't. I don't quite get that they're rebuilding to me. I think that they're establishing a lot of new people, but rebuild, that's just too strong of a word, at least in my opinion.
I think, yeah, that word gets thrown around a lot after a bunch of people go up or a bunch of people are about to go up. And, as far as I'm concerned, NXT has never rebuilt. They've just been reloading. Like, since, this when I caught on to NXT, like, Bo Dallas was the champion. So they've, like, they're doing some fucking serious shit here. Like, this isn't Bo Dallas is the champion anymore. This is like Bobby Roode versus Shinsuke Nakamura in an Ali Frazier type just atmosphere. Like, this is a huge deal now. So whether or not you like the speed of the progression, it's progressing. Like, there hasn't not really been a dip, except for like right after the draft for maybe 3-4 weeks, and they were right back up to like where they were as far as storytelling goes. And that's to be understood. So yeah, I don't think they're ever rebuilding. I think they're just forever reloading until Triple H gets to run the angle where he takes over the company and NXT invades. And that probably is 5 years down the line, but that's ultimately where they're going.
Yeah, if that even comes. But yeah, it's NXT is never going to be quite in the rebuild because they keep signing vets. So I don't think you can rebuild when you have people who don't even need to be in NXT. Like, there's a good 5 people in NXT right now that they have no good reason for being there, but it's good that it is because it helps get other people up to that level. You help build new people, and that's what NXT is just so good at doing. NXT is just, I don't know. It's just NXT is just a great place to be. It honestly is. It's a great product to watch. It cleanses your palate after watching a 3-hour Raw. You get to watch NXT, and it's just back to just good old fashioned wrestling. But go ahead. I know you said you had a few things you wanted to talk about the Rumble.
Yeah. Before we do the Rumble, actually, let's do ratings. You first.
Honestly, and I don't know.
In favorite match.
I don't know if it's. If it's because my expectations were low, but I'd have to rate this like an 8.5, almost 9. I love the show from top to bottom, every bit about it. My favorite match was the main event, which it's supposed to be. Almost anything with Nakamura is probably going to be my main event, but they were able to do some things in that match that completely caught me off guard, and that ending was just perfect in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I'm relatively with you. My favorite match was definitely the Roode Nakamura match. 5-star match as far as I'm concerned, and I don't give a goddamn what Dave Meltzer has to say about it. So I don't care if it didn't happen in Tokyo, David. That was a 5-star match. Trust me, believe me. Other than that, yeah, I'll give it an 8. This was a really good pay-per-view. Like I said, the things that I didn't like about it are personal preference kind of things. Like, it just everything didn't go the way I would have necessarily liked it to. Maybe actually it basically went as I in the best possible way I probably would have said before the pay-per-view, but as it was progressing, like I said, I would have liked to see a different outcome to the Fatal 4-Way, and I would have obviously liked to see Well, like I said, I would like to see the Fatal 4-Way open the pay-per-view as well. I think that's something that would have made it like an 8.5 or a 9 to me. It's just the progression if they had done it that way. But yeah, like little things like when I'm nitpicking like that, man, it's an 8. So this was a hell of a show. Like you said, it super, exceeded our expectations, or at least mine. And man, this was a hell of a show. So yeah, like I said, I did have a couple questions about the Rumble, more meta questions. We did talk more specifically about the Rumble. So obviously go to our, podcast stream, YouTube, what is it, Google Play, SoundCloud, Stitcher. We got all of them covered. Wrestling World Podcast Network. And you can find our Rumble review, Blue Zone this week. Let Me Talk to You, which, by the way, is if you want to save yourself 2 hours or I guess an hour and 15 of your life, stop watching Impact and just listen to Let Me Talk to You, which is how I think I'm going to be doing it from now on. Yeah, TNA is just a dumpster fire right now. But getting back to the Rumble, a couple things, with NXT having these shows that are right next to major pay-per-views, did NXT miss an opportunity here to have its own Rumble?
No, I don't think they're ready or they're at that point to really have their own Rumble. But they just don't really have the roster to. Like, how else would you fill out the show? Would have had literally just been a Rumble and one title match probably to be able to fill that out. So I don't think they're at that level yet where they're ready to have their own Rumble per se. But I don't know. Maybe they can do a 10-man thing next year. Just depends. Right now, WWE is in extreme signing mode. We're probably going to see so many debuts over the next few months. I don't know if they're waiting to the whole Aleister Black, Tommy End thing. You got Cassius Ohno waiting there. Who else knows that they're working deals with that we don't even know about yet? Kyle O'Reilly's probably coming. Adam Cole's probably coming within the next calendar year. They're going to keep talent. And I wouldn't mind seeing something. Definitely not a full 30-man battle royal or Royal Rumble, but maybe like a 10-man thing. I could definitely see them pulling off really almost at any time. Just depends on how they fill out the rest of the card. Because I don't want to see a card where it's a battle royal and then I don't get my DIY match. Like we already didn't have the Revival in this card, which is a travesty of its own. So yeah, I wouldn't want to see a lot of time wasted right now on a Royal Rumble type thing. What about you?
Yeah, no, I agree with you there on the top guys. I guess, we can only hope that means they're coming north as well. But yeah, I think when you're going to have these pay-per-views, like the takeovers rub right up against the major pay-per-views, like it would just make sense to have a smaller version of it. Like you said before, it is developmental. Like these people will be in Royal Rumbles one day. Like what better way to practice than by having a 15-man Rumble or 10-man Rumble on a show? Doesn't need to take all that much time. Like you said, if they do 10-man. And it's a perfect opportunity to get like one-off contracts like Kota Ibushi and Zack Sabre Jr. in for a one night only, come in for 3 minutes, make your, 20 grand, whatever it is to appear. And that way you can really create intrigue around the takeover. Cause it's like, you never know who's going to show up. Maybe there's guys out there that would be willing to be, partake in that just because, of the kind of event it could be. You build the roster with some people like NXT, obviously your NXT core people that aren't involved in title matches. And then, you go ahead and you have the Sabre Juniors and the Ibushis, and like all of a sudden that turns into like the craziest battle royal that's ever happened. Other than the hardcore battle royal, which was just fucking crazy. But one of my favorite matches to just go back, watch, and laugh about. But like I said with the Rumble, and I'll let you know how I feel about this one before you comment, is that did they miss the opportunity to have a women's Rumble this year? I thought, obviously the rosters aren't particularly deep, but if you include NXT in the mix, maybe you sign a couple women, maybe you bring a couple women back, you could put together a 10, 15 woman Rumble. And I think with this whole women's revolution thing, this would have been a good opportunity to do it. Maybe they just didn't want to do it because they would have gotten relegated to the pre-show inevitably, and that would look horrible. But what do you think about a women's Rumble? The idea in general, should they have done it?
I absolutely think that they need to eventually do a women's Rumble. I think that if they have this women's tournament in June, like that's expected, we're going to see a lot more women signed to this roster. And I think next year, definitely there needs to be a women's Rumble if everyone's healthy. You could have done it. Don't get me wrong. I do think that they have it to where they could have done even an 8-woman, or they could have made something work, some type of battle Royal Rumble type thing work out. But it would have felt a little forced and kind of would have been a little jumbled. I think next year, after having this women's tournament, give yourself a year to actually sign and prepare for it. and you can do yourself a little mini version of the Royal Rumble just for the women. And they have the talent. I mean, they have so much talent here in all three women's divisions. That's really underutilized, to be able to put them in the battle royal, have them showcase that way. You can really build some new stars, and you can also have some surprise. Imagine if Mickie James, instead of being La Luchadora, would have came out for a women's rumble. That would have been better served. So yeah, I definitely think it needs to happen. We need to be moving towards that direction. I don't think this was the year to do it, but going forward, I absolutely want to see it on the card every year.
Yeah. I'm all for it. I think I think they missed the opportunity this year if they really wanted to do the women's revolution thing. I think the real logistical problem is that no matter how you do it, it's going to have to be like a bastardized version of the actual Royal Rumble. Like you can't do 30 minutes, 30 men or 30 women. You can't do 2 minutes in between people. Like you just can't have two of those on the same night. Like maybe they offset it. Like maybe the women's Rumble, they do it in the spring for who gets the main event at SummerSlam, something like that. Like, maybe they can create some intrigue doing it that way and separating it out from the men's one. Cause as much as I love the Rumble, I can't watch two of them back to back on a given card. So that's more or less it here, man. Tell the people where they could find you and find us.
You can find me at CEOHaize on Twitter. You can also follow us at WrestleWorld without the O cast on Twitter. But more importantly, go to thewwpn.com. That is our central hub. You can find all of our hosts there, all of our shows, listen to our podcast, leave us a voicemail because we got a number up there. Some of you have been calling, but don't leave a voicemail. I don't know if you just want to talk to JB live, but leave a voicemail. That's how we're going to get to hear what you have to say. So definitely leave that. We check that crap all the time. We check those things all the time. Also, go to squaredcircleoftrust.com. That is a forum that we have. We share it with fanstalkpodcast.com. That's just your place. You can go to interact with all the hosts. You can do everything there. Check us out. Andrew, tell the people where they can find you.
Well, they could find me at WWPN Bello on Twitter. As I was saying on Next Level this week, guys, like I have my own personal, shit going on Twitter. That is explicitly there to interact with you guys. So please follow me, tweet me, like my tweets, because I guess that's the thing that people like. Yeah, all that good stuff. And then obviously, like the man said, go ahead and check out the WWPN.com. I got articles up. We have all access to all of our shows, contact information for all of us. I'm still calling for everybody out there to leave promos. Don't just give us your thoughts. Cut a full blown promo. Tell me I'm an asshole. I'll think it's funny. But one last thing before we go is that for those of you out there who are not on the Roman Reigns bandwagon, as I am, we're asking everybody to use the hashtag #NotMyChamp should he defeat Kevin Owens tomorrow night. We're just see if we could get some sort of massive Twitter movement going. So hashtag #NotMyChamp if Roman wins tomorrow. Be sure to at us. As CEO said, at WrestleWorldCast without the O. And that's it for our NXT TakeOver review. That's it, guys. Have a good night and enjoy the Rumble.
Good night.